This is absolutely heartbreaking news for Springbok fans everywhere. Rassie Erasmus has made the most brutal and ruthless decision of his coaching career by phasing out 4 World Cup winning legends who helped deliver back-to-back championships. Faf de Klerk, Willie le Roux, Vincent Koch, and Bongi Mbonambi, for heroes who bled green and gold, who gave everything for South Africa, are being systematically pushed aside to make way for the next generation. The end of an era is here, and what Rassie said about these decisions will break your heart. Before we dive into this emotional story, you need to hit that subscribe button right now, smash the like, turn on notifications, and drop a comment sharing your favorite memory of these legends. Let's get into it. Let's start with the most shocking omission of them all, Faf de Klerk, the iconic blonde-haired scrum half who became the heartbeat and soul of the Springboks during their golden era. At 35 years old, Faf has been completely left out of Springbok squads for major tours, and the message from Rassie Erasmus couldn't be clearer. The era of Faf de Klerk as South Africa's first-choice number 9 is over, and it's ending not with a grand farewell but with a quiet fade into the background that this warrior absolutely doesn't deserve. Faf de Klerk's contributions to South African rugby are almost impossible to quantify because they go far beyond statistics and numbers. Yes, he earned over 70 test caps. Yes, he was instrumental in winning 2 World Cups in 2019 and 2023. Yes, his box-kicking accuracy and defensive intensity set standards that few scrum halves in world rugby could match. But what made Faf truly special was his spirit, his personality, his absolute refusal to be intimidated by anyone or anything. He brought an edge, an attitude, a swagger to the Springboks that transformed them from a good team into an unstoppable force. If you're feeling emotional about Faf's exit, hit that like button right now and let me know in the comments what your favorite Faf de Klerk moment was. This man gave us so many incredible memories. The decision to phase out Faf wasn't sudden or unexpected. Throughout the 2025 season, the signs were there for anyone paying attention. Grant Williams and Jaden Hendricks were getting more game time, more opportunities, more trust from the coaching staff. Cobus Renock, another experienced scrum half, was leapfrogging Faf in the pecking order. By the time the Autumn Nations Series tour came around, Faf wasn't even in the squad. That's how quickly it happened. One moment he's a Springbok legend, the next he's watching from home while younger players take his place. What makes this situation particularly difficult is that Faf is still playing excellent rugby at club level. He's still physically capable, still mentally sharp, still contributing at the highest levels of the game. But Rassie has clearly decided that 35 is too old for the intensity and demands of Test rugby, especially with a World Cup in 2027 on the horizon. The coach wants players who will be at their peak in Australia, not veterans who might be declining by then. It's a brutal calculation, but it's the reality of elite sport. Willie le Roux, the silky smooth fullback who orchestrated so many Springbok attacks with his vision and skill, is also being phased out at 35 years old, and his omission from recent squad signals that his incredible international career is winding down to its conclusion. Willie has been one of the most elegant and intelligent players to ever wear the green and gold, a fullback who could unlock defenses with a single perfectly weighted kick or a brilliantly timed pass. But age waits for no one, and Rassie has clearly identified younger options who represent the future. Willie le Roux' Springbok journey has been nothing short of remarkable. From his early days as an exciting young talent to becoming a World Cup winner in 2019 and again in 2023, he's experienced the absolute highest peaks of international rugby. His ability to create something from nothing, to see space and opportunities that other players couldn't perceive, made him invaluable during crucial matches. Who can forget his contributions during World Cup knockout stages, his tactical intelligence under pressure, his calm presence when everything around him was chaos? Make sure you're subscribed because we're honoring these legends properly with the respect they deserve. Drop a comment if Willie le Roux was one of your favorite Springboks. The transition away from Willie has been handled more diplomatically than some might have expected. Afalil Fassi has emerged as the clear first-choice fullback, showing phenomenal form throughout 2025 and establishing himself as one of the most exciting attacking threats in world rugby. Quan Horn has also pushed ahead in the pecking order, offering versatility and youth that appeals to Rassie's long-term planning. Willie's omission from the Autumn Nations Series squad was the clearest indication yet that his time as a frontline Springbok is essentially finished. There might be one final appearance, perhaps a farewell test to honor his service, but his days as a regular starter are definitively over. Vincent Koch and Bongi Mbonambi, two absolutely crucial members of the legendary bomb squad, are also being phased out as Rassie Erasmus continues his ruthless but necessary regeneration of the Springbok squad. Koch at 34 and Mbonambi at 35 are both at ages where tight head props and hookers typically start declining physically, and the coaching staff has clearly decided that investing in younger alternatives makes more strategic sense for the 2027 World Cup cycle. Vincent Koch has been an absolute warrior for South Africa, a tight head prop whose scrummaging power and work rate around the field made him one of the most respected forwards in world rugby. His ability to come off the bench and immediately impose himself physically was a key component of the bomb squad strategy that terrorized opponents. But Father Time is undefeated, and at 34, Koch's omission from recent squads suggests that players like Wilco Louw, Thomas du Toit, and others have overtaken him in Rassie's plans. It's a harsh reality, but professional sport has no room for sentiment when building towards a World Cup. Bongi Mbonambi's situation is perhaps even more stark and brutal. The 35-year-old hooker, who was South Africa's starting number 2 during both World Cup triumphs, has been relegated to standby status while younger hookers like Jan-Hendrik Wessels and Johan Grobler are getting opportunities ahead of him. Bongi's throwing accuracy and physicality made him world-class, but the emergence of these younger options has made Rassie's decision easier. The coach wants hookers who will be 26 or 27 during the next World Cup, not 37 and potentially struggling with the intensity. Drop a comment showing respect for these forwards who gave absolutely everything in the Springbok jersey. They deserve our appreciation. Now let's talk about Rassie Erasmus's decision-making process and why, despite how heartbreaking it is to see these legends phased out, it's actually the right call for South African rugby's future. Rassie has never been a sentimental coach. He makes decisions based on cold hard analysis of what gives the Springboks the best chance of winning, not on emotional attachments to players who served him well in the past. And when you look at the ages of these 4 players and the timeline to the 2027 World Cup, his logic becomes crystal clear even if it's painful to accept. Faf de Klerk will be 37 during the next World Cup. Willie le Roux will be 37. Vincent Koch will be 36. Bongi Mbonambi will be 37. At those ages, even the most exceptional athletes are declining physically. Reaction times slow down. Recovery between matches takes longer. The risk of serious injury increases dramatically. Rassie is looking at these realities and making the tough call to transition to younger players now rather than waiting until it's too late. He's building a squad that will peak in Australia, not one that's already past its best. The replacements are already proving themselves worthy. Grant Williams and Jaden Hendricks are excellent scrum halves with years ahead of them. Afilil Fassi is arguably better than Willie le Roux was at the same age. The depth at prop and hooker is stronger than it's been in years thanks to Rassie's policy of using 50 different players and creating genuine competition for places. This isn't a rebuild, it's an evolution. The Springboks won't suddenly become weak because these 4 legends are moving on. Instead, fresh blood will energize the squad and create hunger that sometimes veteran players lose after winning everything there is to win. What's particularly impressive is how Rassie has managed this transition. There's been no public criticism of these players, no disrespectful treatment, no sudden brutal announcements. Instead, they've been gradually eased out, given chances to accept reality, and presumably there will be proper farewells when the time is right. That's how you treat legends, with dignity and respect even when making ruthless decisions about their futures. There you have it. 4 Springbok legends, Faf de Klerk, Willie le Roux, Vincent Koch, and Bongi Mbonambi, being phased out as Rassie builds for the future. If this moved you, smash that like button, subscribe for more Springbok news, and drop a comment sharing your favorite memory of these warriors. An era is ending, but the dynasty continues. Thank you Faf, Willie, Koch, and Bongi for everything you gave us.